Instructors, by the left. Quick, march. Just going to move this one.
Deputy Chief Constable, Assistant Chief Constable, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you and a warm welcome to Passing Out Parade of Course 0121. I'm Chief Superintendent Rob Hay, the Head of Leadership Training and Development for Police Scotland. It gives me great pleasure to host today's parade, which marks the end of initial training for 188 police constables, 178 for Police Scotland, and 10 for our colleagues in the British Transport Police. I'm delighted to be joined today on the dais by Deputy Chief Constable Will Kerr, OBE, who will shortly address the course. Other guests with me today are Assistant Chief Constable Tim Mayers and Superintendent David Marshall from the British Transport Police. I know for you this is a very different parade to that which you'd hoped for. The absence of friends and family today is felt by all. However, I am delighted that we were able to live stream today's parade through the dedicated work of Police Scotland's audiovisual unit. And I hope that those at home enjoying this special day appreciate that opportunity. To our officers on parade, in completing your initial training, you've shown tenacity and resilience. Completing the initial 12 weeks training programme at a time when things have felt far from normal, both here and at home, is a notable achievement. You should be rightly proud of what you have achieved so far. Friends and family at home, as you would expect, the initial training course for police officers is demanding. We have not always been gentle with your loved ones. However, I make no apology for that. It's in their best interest to be tested here. Our training is designed to prepare our officers to serve the communities of Scotland, who are entitled to expect high standards from them. The oath they have taken and the powers that accompany that oath mean they now hold an important position of trust in society. We know they could not have managed successful completion of their training here alone. They and we are very grateful for the support and understanding that you, their friends and family, have provided as they embark on their new career. That support will continue to be crucial as they face the many challenges and pressures a career in policing can bring. As you will appreciate, policing can be difficult and at times a dangerous profession. Every day we have thousands of officers doing difficult jobs in challenging circumstances, sometimes making life or death decisions in fractions of seconds without anything approaching a full set of facts or the benefit of hindsight. In the coming weeks, the officers before you today will support someone in crisis who thinks all is lost. They'll go through doors knowing that on the other side there are persons that would do them harm, and they'll go through those doors anyway. They'll find the missing and the vulnerable. They'll comfort victims of crime, and they'll arrest those that commit those crimes to bring them before the courts. They'll be challenged repeatedly, and at times feel the frustrations that can come from the realities of policing in a tough environment. but they will go home at the end of their shifts knowing that they have made a difference to people in some of the worst times of their lives. Course 0121, your actions will shape the public view of you and your colleagues. Stay loyal to our values: integrity, fairness and respect. Show courage and compassion. Use the power you now have to protect those without power, the marginalised and the victimised. I wish you the very best in your career. Staff Tyndall, may I now ask you to continue with the drill display. Thank you, Course 121, for that wonderful drill display. I would now like to introduce our addressing officer, Deputy Chief Constable Will Kerr, OBE. Will Kerr joined Police Scotland in September 2018 and was appointed as Deputy Chief Constable for a local police. He brought with him over 27 years' experience from Northern Ireland and the National Crime Agency. Mr. Kerr enjoyed a varied policing career in Northern Ireland, having been a divisional commander and senior investigating officer, who led in a number of high-profile murder and terrorism investigations. He also gained significant public order experience at Bronze, Unit Commander, Silver and Gold tiers. During his later years in PSNI, Mr. Kerr held a number of key command-level posts, including ACC Belfast, where he was the Gold Commander for all key events and parades in the city over a 3-year period. And he was PSNI's lead Gold Commander for the overall parading season from 2012 to 2014. Mr. Kerr's last role in the PSNI was as ACC Crime Operations, where he was in charge of all serious crime and counter-terrorism specialist functions. On transferring to the National Crime Agency in January 2017 as Director of Vulnerabilities, Mr. Kerr was the national lead for directing and coordinating the UK's response, both domestically and internationally, to child sexual abuse and exploitation, with responsibility for the Child Exploitation and Online Protection Centre, modern slavery, human trafficking and organised immigration crime. DCC Kerr was awarded the OBE for services to policing and the community in the 2015 Queen's Birthday Honours List. It's my great honour to present Deputy Chief Constable Will Kerr.
Thanks very much, Rob. Constables and new constables of Course 0121 and other colleagues here today, you're very welcome, of course, to your own passing out parade this morning, but can I pay a particularly warm welcome to your families and friends who are joining online virtually. This isn't the way we would like, as the Chief Superintendent was saying, to run our passing out parades, but we're delighted that people still have the facility, and thank you to our colleagues who've been able to enable that this morning. It gives me great pleasure, whether you're here in person or virtually, to welcome you to the Scottish Police College for this passing out parade of Course 0121 this morning. And today is an incredibly important day for you all, really just the start of what is going to be, and I know from having been a police officer now this month for 32 years, a fabulous career. And was said by the head of the college in his comments earlier, I mean, being a police officer is a demanding career, expects a lot of us. We're able to police the communities as we do in Scotland because of the fundamental values and principles that underpin everything we do. We police by consent. We are a public service. This is the single most important thing that we all must remember as police officers. We're here to serve the public. And as Robert Peel said, and this is now 200 years old and stands as much today in 2021 as it did when he wrote this principles in 1829, we are the public and the public are the police service. That's why the Chief Constable makes that point so clearly when you took your oath of office during your very first week of service. So in the coming weeks and months, you're going to come across, as been talked about earlier on, and have to deal with things that you've never previously encountered. You'll be expected to show leadership and to deal with the most difficult of situations, but you won't be doing this alone. You'll have colleagues, tutors and supervisors all there to help you, and you'll need the support of your colleagues, and they in turn will rely on you from your very first operational day out in division. But remember, everyone starts as a constable. I remember very well my first day in service and my first 2 years of service as a probationary constable in Derry, albeit quite a few years ago. We've all been there. But it's vital that you treat everyone, absolutely everyone, that you come into contact with as a police officer with dignity and respect. You'll be called upon to act with courage and professionalism. Your personal integrity is absolutely paramount to your ability to command respect and to retain the confidence of the communities that we serve. And I'd ask that you also apply and you conduct your duties with compassion. Compassion is good for a police officer to have. It's a proper and rightful thing for us to be able to go out there, our communities, and to deal with people who are often vulnerable, very often in need, otherwise they wouldn't be calling us, and to show a bit of compassion. It's a human nature, and I think it's what strengthens and gives policing some of its core purpose and values. And when I joined the police service over 30 years ago, the first thing I was made to learn, and it stuck with me ever since, was a definition of courtesy, pure and simple courtesy. Now, the language is a wee bit dated, but I'm going to read it out to you now because it stuck with me and it served me well over the last 32 years of my career. And it reads as follows. Courtesy is an essential quality and one which will smooth many a path. The public have the right to expect it, and with it, its complementary quality, good temper. It should be remembered that an angry person is quite incapable of exercising the judgment and discretion so often needed in the performance of police work. A police officer should be careful to avoid giving any justification for complaints of overzealousness or the causing of unnecessary embarrassment to any individual. In carrying out my duty, the confidence of the public should be retained by exercising courtesy, discretion, and common sense. And I frankly can't say it any better than that. And albeit 32 years old, that has served me very well. And I hope you remember the principles and the words of that definition throughout the remainder of your policing career. So you've now completed 12 weeks of training. You've had the very best of training given by some excellent staff who the Chief Superintendent has rightly thanked earlier on. But remember that when you start to work in your division next week, the public will see you as a police officer and as a person that they can rely on and trust in their time of need. So whether you have 12 weeks service or 12 years service, it doesn't really matter. The public expectation of you is going to be exactly the same on your first day on the streets. And the training that I've referred to you have gotten from the excellent staff here, I also want to acknowledge and thank. And the training you will continue to receive when you go out to your division will actually ensure that you understand there's much more to policing than simply enforcement. Talking to people, exercising basic communication skills, courtesy, compassion, all the things we've talked about this morning, that should be second nature to you and will become second nature to you over the next few years. So when you hit the streets in the next few weeks, can I ask that you remember two very basic things and ask those two very basic things of you. The first is to think for yourself and to reflect on the experiences that you will have. You're going to get things wrong and you're going to make mistakes. We all do and we all have. The important thing is to act in good faith at all times and to acknowledge and admit when you've made those mistakes, and there will be a range of people around you who will support you and make sure that they can be mitigated or remedied very quickly. But those supervisors and the police service in general will be there to support you and help you learn and develop as a police officer. And secondly, take your whole self to work. We must serve the public with a bit of good humour as well as humility and respect, and treat everyone the way you would expect to be treated. So your family and friends who are listening online today, just every time you're engaging with a member of the public, even if they're being a bit angsty, even if they're being a bit aggressive, it doesn't matter. Treat them exactly the same way that you would expect any of your family members who are listening so proudly today of you as you pass out. Treat every single member of the public as you would expect your family member to be treated. A very basic tenet of policing will serve you well over the next few years as well. And don't forget that our police powers don't come from an act of Parliament, albeit they're enacted there in statute. They come from the consent of the public, who gives us our job and our responsibility. So treat obviously the people the same way you would expect to be treated as well before you join the police service. Every contact, as you'll know, a basic the cards principle, every contact leaves a trace. So every time you speak to a member of the public in their time of need, they will go out and speak to all their family members, all their friends, lots of other members of the community. And that one interaction that may seem so inconsequential to you during the course of that day will be incredibly important to them and will shape the confidence in policing and their relationship and trust in this police service as a whole. So remember that every single one of those contacts that you have with members of our communities and members of our public is equally as important. And the demands on you now involve working shifts, as you know, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 360 days of the year. There are going to be occasions where you miss family celebrations as a result. I certainly have missed too many of them. But you will need to be courteous, courageous, and kind. And even when it's difficult at times to show those qualities, and we're all human, we all get up in the morning sometimes and you don't feel like displaying those qualities as consistently as you should. But once you wear that uniform and once you exercise and are presented and are engaged with the public as a member of the Police Service of Scotland, you have a responsibility and a duty to make sure that you bring your best self to work every single time you engage with a member of the public. And as I said at the beginning, and specifically to those families who are joining us online today, I thank you in advance for your forbearance and for your support, for your the police officers, your sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, and any other family members over the years to come. So to conclude, you've joined an absolutely fantastic organisation, biased as we obviously are, and undoubtedly one of the best police services in the world. You're now part of that police family. As are the relatives and friends who are watching you proudly online today. And your job, whilst it's to keep other people safe, it's also to look after each other and to make sure that you look after your own welfare, your own support, and to maintain with appropriate and sensible humour your own spirits during the course of what can be very long, protracted, and very difficult shifts. So thank you. And I'm going to end at this point. Thank you for serving, or for choosing Police Scotland. And I know a number of our colleagues have chosen to join the British Transport Police as well, and equally proud and a very commendable police service. And for each of you, I'm delighted that you've chosen the vocation that is policing, and I know you'll absolutely enjoy it. And even if you only enjoy it half as much as I have over the last 32 years, I know you'll not regret at any stage your decision. Frustrating sometimes as policing can be, you'll not regret your vocational choice. So congratulations, well done again. And I look forward to speaking to some of you in person when obviously we're delivering the prizes later on. So congratulations and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Constable. So, finally, colleagues, friends, family, please, I now call upon Inspector Alan Healy to lead course 0121 as they leave the parade square of the Scottish Police College for the very last time. Inspector Healy.
Finally, so much.